all new for a whole month. With new challenges.
Yeah! Look at my partner go.
New stars.
Ooh, so!
It's time for a modern girl to show you how it's done.
And fantastic new fails.
That was nice.
Bring in the new year with all new episodes of Paradise Run.
Guys, so excited to be here with Daniella Monet. Give them a round of applause, guys.
Guys.
Paradise Run.
Yeah, thanks for having
Season 3, congratulations.
I know, season 3.
Did you ever imagine?
You know, you always hope for the best, but 3 seasons, 70 episodes in, and we're happy to keep going.
Tell me about the concept, how it first came about.
Well, I've been working with Nickelodeon for a very long time, and I slowly started getting introduced to hosting, which I really, really enjoy. And when they offered me to do this pilot, it was kind of just a very basic idea of what this show has become. I had no idea we were going to be shooting in Hawaii. I had no idea the actual scale.
They didn't tell you Hawaii from the get-go?
No, I don't think they knew. I think that they just thought it would be great if we were in paradise of some sort. What is that going to be? We have no idea. And then it just kind of has unfolded since that, and who knew?
And then tell me about going to Hawaii for the first time for the show.
You know what's so funny is I actually filmed one of the Fairly Odd Parents movies, Fairly Odd Summer, in Hawaii as well. I feel like for some reason Hawaii has just been in my luck. I don't know how it happened. So when I came in for Paradise Run, it was like a totally different vibe, and I stay at the resort that we shoot at. So it's like living at work, which is not actually a bad thing. It's the weirdest thing because if your call time's like 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning, you're like, cool, 6:55. I'm just gonna mosey on over.
Like I'm on island time.
Oh, it's great. It's great.
I mean, do you get to explore a little bit, between those scenes?
Yeah, I do. We have like an annual boat trip with the crew every year. We go like see dolphins and like obviously in the wild. We see them on this boat and it's so magical. At one point, I think when I was there, I forget which time, the first time I was there, it was all, we went shark cage diving or went into a shark cage, which was incredible. So.
How did it feel to see a shark up close like that?
Easy breezy. I had no idea that I would just like love sharks or they love me. It was like the coolest experience.
Well, luckily there aren't any sharks involved with the competitions you're making these kids go through.
Oh no, there's sharks. There's a shark week, a full week dedicated to a shark where a shark pops up in every episode.
Scary.
It's really
so scary. Do you get to be part of the sort of conception of the competitions?
You know, they actually were nice enough to include me in some of the casting when they were casting for, because we have a lot of stars and celebrities that come on the show. And I went into one of the casting rooms and I saw like all these athletes and stuff. And I was like, that's someone my boyfriend would like. That's someone I want on the show. My parents are coming. Let's have them come. Like, I thought it was so cool.
Can you drop some of the names that we can look out for in this season 3?
Well, we've got some WWE superstars, which I think a lot of kids are super stoked about. I grew up when WWE was like very popular, and I honestly didn't know that it was still so enormous amongst kids. I mean, we had these kids like freaking out and they get teamed up with them. So that's literally their partner throughout the show. So that's really exciting. And then we've got some amazing athletes. We've got gymnasts. We've got some musicians, actors from other networks. It's really exciting.
Yeah. Anybody that you were excited to bring along?
Who did I see that I was just... An old friend, Carlos Penavega and Alexa Penavega. They're the cutest little couple. They're married. They brought their son Ocean. They were on the show, and she's on Spy, or was on Spy Kids, and he's from Big Time Rush, and they were so competitive and awesome, and it was so fun to watch. I mean, these are all grown adults, just like going at it. It was entertaining.
I mean, now that you're getting into 3 seasons, do you feel like you have to up the ante as far as the competitions are concerned and the challenges?
Yeah, everything has become bigger and better every season. I mean, we started off being just like a somewhat simple show at a Hawaiian resort, and who would have thought, like, now we have this 45-foot volcano with a water slide that looks enormous. We've got a 700-foot zip line across the entire lagoon of the resort, and all of this is going on in a live working hotel. Like, there are people there that spent hard-earned money to be there, like, and enjoy their vacation. And here we are just like, hi. It's just crazy.
I mean, when you guys have the competitions, how is it to watch these kids? Obviously, they're so passionate. They want to win. Everyone's like really excited about it. Does it feel like, are you rooting? Who do you root for? I mean, is it hard to pick?
It's hard. You really have to just like watch and play along as you go. I mean, it's not like the easiest show. I know it's a kid's show, but it is hard work. All of these things are
I wonder if I could compete with some of
That's
these things.
the thing is even these like big wrestlers and like we had NFL stars and basketball, like all these people are like, oh no, I got this. Like do you see what I do for a living? And I'm like, okay, good luck. And they get out there and they're like flopping all over the place. It's hard.
Do you ever get on the course yourself?
I have wanted to every season. I'm like,
Wait,
banned.
you haven't?
No, I'm like banned. They're like, oh, Daniella's here. I'm like, oh.
Just like
not
they're
that
trying to keep you
precious.
safe. They don't want you
It's
out.
so annoying. Like I can handle it. Come on.
You don't wait till they're closed and I'll leave and jump on there.
You know what? There's been rumors that has happened. So now they have 24-hour security. I can't even try that anymore.
Are you already sort of conceiving what you'd love to do with season 4?
Yes. I mean, I think what would be incredible, and I love being on the Big Island at the Waikoloa Village Resort, but I would love to take it somewhere else if it were up to me.
Let's throw some locations out there.
I don't know. I love Hawaii. I mean, I think it's been a really great vibe for the show. And obviously, it's got great weather and great atmosphere. I'm actually really in love with Mexico right now. I went to Tulum not that long ago, and it was magical. So if there is any opportunity there.
You should be able to go to any paradise you want. Come on.
Right? Come on. Who calls the shots here?
I mean, when you were sort of starting out, obviously you were really young. You were
Yeah.
around these cameras. It was kind of a scary experience for you, I imagine. Are you coaching these kids at all? Are they coming to you? Obviously they're excited because they know you
No.
from your work. They're not excited?
They're like little pros. They can care less. In fact, they make fun of me for being as old as I am. It's hysterical. They're like, oh gosh, how was it like hanging out with all those dinosaurs back then? I'm like, really? Come on. For real?
So you don't get along with these kids?
Oh no,
you
they're
must.
hysterical. I love them. I like treat them like they're my little sisters. I'm like, oh, do you need a binky? Like, how can I help you? Don't cry.
I mean, do you ever watch? I mean, there's a couple. Nickelodeon has a couple of the wipeouts, the baddest wipeouts, which are so fun. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, no one's getting hurt,
No.
but it's got to be pretty funny to watch them sort of challenge themselves.
Yeah. No, honestly, the funniest part is when they don't do well. It's hysterical. These kids are so invested, and I get it. If it were me, I would be like a diehard. I'm there to compete. There's a big prize at the end. Like, get out of my way. But they're like teamed up with other celebrities. They're like relatives. Like, they don't care. There's no filter whatsoever. It is real TV, and I get that it's Nickelodeon, but these kids have their own little like battles, and it cracks me up. I'm like, listen, problem solve. That's a lesson here.
Do the celebrities ever have their feelings hurt when one kid's excited to be paired up with somebody, maybe not so excited there?
Yeah, they're probably like, fake it, kid. I don't know. Most of the time, though, the kids are pretty stoked. They're pretty stoked. If anything, they don't show a lot of emotion because they're so nervous. So it's cute. It's like you gotta like really wake them up, and they're like, I don't know what to do. There's cameras, and I'm with my favorite person. It's crazy.
Is that, anybody that you've worked with in past shows, are they hitting you up to be on the show as well, to join up?
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten that. I have a friend who plays for the Chargers, Kenny Wiggins. He's awesome. I tried to get him on the show, so maybe next season. And then aside from that, I have a lot of friends and fans on like Twitter and Instagram that constantly ask me how they can be on the show. So that's a good response.
Are you casting? So you're not involved with casting, is that what you're saying?
I'm not fully involved, no, but I would love to. I would literally be like man on the streets, like polling people, like, hey, you want to go to paradise?
Do you want to do more of this, or do you want to do another show? Obviously, people love you from Victorious and everything
Yeah.
like that. I mean, what do you feel like right now?
Honestly, hosting was like a total accident. I fell into it, and I really, really enjoy it. I like being real. I like being myself. But I think ultimately my heart is in sitcom. It's what I've done since I was little. So, yeah, I'd say in the next year, I would love to just get on another sitcom.
What was it like to be on that first sitcom? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so my first sitcom was on CBS, actually. It was called Listen Up. It was with Jason Alexander and Malcolm Jamal Warner. It was
George from Seinfeld, for people who don't know,
from
absolutely.
Seinfeld. Yeah, he played my dad. It was hysterical. And they modeled the show after Pardon the Interruption, the sports show on ESPN. Or was it ESPN or Sports Net? I don't know.
Just say it.
Anyways.
Absolutely. Let's go with it. Let's go with it.
Anyway, so it was so much fun. It was a total culture shock. I mean, I was only 14, 15 years old. And at that point, though, I realized, this is my world. I'm so comfortable here. And we had live audiences, and it was such a great, memorable experience. And working with those kind of legends, I learned a lot. I mean,
what did Jason tell you maybe that you stuck with?
He was really like a dad figure. And one of the coolest opportunities I had during that show was we had... the whole cast of Seinfeld come and watch the show. So I got to meet Julia. I got to meet the creator of Seinfeld. I mean, it was one of those experiences where you're just young and you don't really know what's going on. But for someone who's just starting in sitcom, that's kind of where you want to be. So it's kind of what's modeled me to where I am now.
Absolutely. And tell me about entering that Nickelodeon world, how
Oh
that
my
first
gosh,
was.
it's a blast. It's like a whole nother world. It was such a family, and it still is. I mean, there's a reason why I've been working there for like 12 years. Crazy. But yeah, I mean, being on Victorious was a full-on whirlwind. We were all so close. I talk to them, I hang out with them, and when you're on a show that long and you kind of go through those like growing up years, you kind of have a bond that just doesn't just go away, you know? So that was special.
Were you surprised by how like attentive people were and how much attention people were paying to the characters?
Oh, Victorious?
Yeah.
It still surprises me. The most funny, I always get these comments, I'll be out and about or whatever getting a coffee and they're like, oh my gosh, I totally recognized you because of your voice. That's like my favorite thing I hear. I'm like, really? Like my face, nothing else, just my voice? Okay, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that my voice is memorable, I mean, I guess means the kids like really paid attention watching the show.
Do people ever like call you your name from the character?
Yeah, all the time, all the time.
What do you get the most of?
Yeah, people call me Trina. They think it's hysterical. They're like, you are Trina. I'm like, okay, sure, totally.
Do you ever go back and watch that? Do you have a favorite scene that you got to do back then?
I'd say one of the more memorable scenes was when I was in the booth recording a birth week song for Victoria or Tori, and I loved that opportunity. But I also loved the one-woman show where I like sang Chicago, and you know, like it was like this huge, like I thought like really fun episode to do, and in turn, it's become like kind of like a culty episode. Everyone who like runs into me will be like, out of the blue, just want to sing Chicago. I was at the SpongeBob Broadway show last night, and the girl who plays Pearl, the whale, I met her backstage, and she goes, Chicago, and I was like, what was that? Like, I didn't even know what she was doing. I'm like, oh, right. That episode, like 7 years ago. Correct, got it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, now that social media it's become such a big thing. Are you getting tweeted by a lot of people who are sort of back watching the show, sending you scenes?
It's interesting what like the age demo is for that show, because we premiered probably about 6 years ago. I want to say even more than that. And kids watch it, but like kids my own age or adults my own age have seen it and we're like fans of it, so it's cool.
Are you ever surprised by a photo that they've latched on to?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, I get a lot of those on Instagram. I get tagged in pictures and I'm just like, that was me.
How many people want you to do like a reunion show or something like that?
Too many. Literally, it's like what everyone wants. I think it's hysterical, and we want it too. It would be so much fun.
Would you do a series or would you do a movie? What would you want to do?
I think a movie. I think like we've got a lot of bang with our cast. Like everyone's a big personality. A movie would be more than enough.
Have you guys bounced around any plot ideas for that?
There was a time, yeah, we did bounce around some plot ideas, and I think like all of our characters now in life are so grown up, and if we could imagine what their life would be like, you can go in so many directions. Like, what the heck would Trina be doing at my age? Like, it's hysterical to think about.
What do you think she would do?
She would work at a coffee shop. I don't know. She's like, she didn't have much talent. I don't know. I love coffee, so I mean, let's roll with it.
It's amazing. I mean, you're so good as a host. Obviously, you have your YouTube page that people can check out. I mean, tell me about doing videos like that. And obviously, you have the vegan videos, which are fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So, no, I mean, YouTube was kind of a funny thing. I'm so late to the party when it comes to any platform. So it turns out YouTube was very popular at one point. And I decided, like, when I got off Victorious, that I just wanted to, like, relate to people more. Like, I'm more of, like, I'm a people person. So even if I meet people that watch the show, I'm like, cool, but, like, what about you? Like, I want to know about you, you know? And so vlogging and shooting things on YouTube kind of gave me more of a personality outside of, like, Victorious and outside of who I was on Nickelodeon. So it's been fun. I do it just for complete fun, and I look at it as like kind of like a time warp, you know, when I'm like in my 40s, 50s, 60s. I want to look back and be like, yeah, that was a cool experience.
And it's D Takes Your V Card, right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
So
the name
D
of the
Takes
show?
Your V Card is actually a Facebook series. And I actually upload the videos to YouTube as well. But that was just something fun that I wanted to do because I've been vegan for 16 years, and it's something that's totally a part of my life. I'm cruelty-free in every aspect, and I wanted to share what that lifestyle is like. So it started with taking people who have never eaten vegan food and exposing them to a vegan meal and getting their reaction. And now it's kind of turned into, well, what does like vegan makeup mean? Or what does vegan clothes mean? Or what does it mean to have vegan home decor? Like, you know, vegan is such a general term. It really just means like I don't do anything that harms animals, and I don't support that. So that's kind of like what the show's become.
What first brought you to that lifestyle?
Oh, well, it's kind of a fun story. When I was 5, you guys are really going to do the math. You're going to know how old I am. When I was 5, I became vegetarian. I went to a dude ranch and I saw them tying up and branding cows, and they like flip on their back and they brand them, and it was just like horrendous to watch. And shortly after that, we went to the cafeteria. They talked about the steaks and, you know, how it all was derived and how they raise their cows. And I was just like, whoa, 5 years old, everything impacts you. I asked a lot of questions, was vegetarian. Then, years later, I was about 10, 11 years old. My uncle was suffering from cancer. They put him on an all-vegan diet. And I thought, well, why is everyone eating vegan? Like, if, you know, what does that correlate to cancer? And they said, well, you know, when you eat a vegan diet, you're less, you know, likely to have, you know, diseases and illnesses, and cancer can't really survive in a body that thrives on a vegan diet. So I was like, why doesn't the world eat like this? Like, you're 10 years old. You're like, this makes all the sense in the world. He's dying. Like, what is going on? So I kind of planted the seed. I slowly started to eliminate things. And then I read a book called Skinny Bitch. Skinny
Great
Bitch.
title.
It
Great
was
title.
great. And if anyone's read it, it's kind of a common book. I've brought it up before, and people have brought it up to me. They're like, have you read Skinny Bitch? I'm like, that was a long time ago. Yes, I have, in middle school. I was only 12 years old. I read that, and that was the end. Like, I had already eliminated so many like animal byproducts. From that point on, I'm like, absolutely not. Yeah.
How do you like cooking on video and that sort of thing, and,
I love
and teaching
it.
people? Yeah.
I come
What's
from
your
an
favorite
Italian
meal that
family,
you love?
so I'm like always cooking Italian food. I cook 6-7 days a week. I'm the hungriest person I know out of my whole family. I love having a fully stocked fridge. I'm the first person to bring something to someone's house. Like, yeah, I love it.
Are there any other things that you love to get into as far as sharing your videos?
In terms of that, you know what, I've toyed around with like maybe doing some sort of cookbook, or even just more organized like cooking recipe videos, because one thing that people find really difficult about, you know, eating plant-based is not knowing what to eat. People are like, you could eat pasta. I'm like, yes. They're like, you could eat bread? Yep. Like, it's so many misconceptions. Like, what do you think I eat? The air? Like, there's more to life than that, you know? So I think it'd be nice to do that.
Absolutely. Do you find any other co-stars who sort of, what are you eating? What's that over there? And
Yeah.
get interested in it?
It's very common, almost all the time. In fact, when I was on Victorious, I was the only vegan, and Liz ended up going vegan, who played Jade, and Ari ended up going vegan at one point, and I was like, I am here for support. Bring it on. Yeah.
I mean, I love that you are able to use your voice for that cause, and
Yeah.
also the Blackfish and SeaWorld and everything
yeah.
like that. I mean, is that something that is important to you?
Absolutely. I am not a fan of SeaWorld. I'm not a fan of zoos. I'm not a fan. You know, what can I say?
I love how you're just honest about everything that you
Yeah.
feel. Do you want to do series and series around that, or you just want to do the sitcoms that you love so much?
I mean, I love sitcom. I like lighthearted stuff. You know, as deep as I get with animal rights, I'm a very lighthearted person on the surface, I'd say, and I want to make people laugh, and I like family-friendly content. So that's the goal.
What do you watch right now as far as sitcoms?
Oh goodness, I don't watch any sitcoms.
You want to
I
make
can't
the
watch
one
them,
that you
but I
want.
want to be on them. That's a real guilty. I'm admitting a lot right there, but it's the truth. I watch a lot of reality shows and HGTV and.
What reality shows?
And I just got into Shameless, which I can't turn off.
So good, absolutely.
So good.
I mean, are there who would you want to work with as far as a sitcom? You
On
know,
a
any
sitcom?
actors that you'd love to work with on?
Oh man, you know, it'd be cool to work with. You know, it's so hard to say. They're all so talented. You know, the cast of Friends is great. Like all those shows I kind of grew up with. I mean, I would love to. Yeah.
I mean, would you want to do a sitcom with any people that you've acted with in the past on other shows and create a
Sure.
different show?
Sure. Yeah. Why not? I mean, I love Liz. I think Liz is hysterical, who played Jade on Victorious, and she's like killing it on Dynasty. And we have so much talent on Victorious. I mean, of course, if any of us somehow, you know, stumbled onto the same show, absolutely, sign me up.
Is there a place that you'd love to do it, or sort of a plot that you have been kicking around that you'd love to do?
No, but I secretly want to like play a crazy person, like a crazy aunt. You
That
know,
seems like the most fun roles.
or like a mom,
Like a Phoebe
either
sort of
crazy or
role.
just like a mom.
Just sort of wacky out there
Yeah,
and crazy.
Yeah, I do best with that stuff.
I love that. Well, we have some questions in the audience.
Oh, cool.
If you had the power to cast anybody on the show, who would it be?
On Paradise Run?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? Anyone from the Housewives. I want them to get dirty. I want them to get soaking wet, and I want them to fight for their prizes.
Do you have a favorite housewife?
Oh gosh, which one do I not like? You know, I'd say maybe like I don't know, Beverly Hills, because I relate to them a little bit. Sometimes I'll see them in the car. I'm like, oh my God.
You're more starstruck by them, it feels
It's
like.
awful. I can see like Angelina Jolie, which I have, and I was like, that's cool. But if I see like a reality star, I'm like, oh my God, what are you wearing? Where are you going?
That's amazing. Okay, next question.
Speaking of paradise, what is your favorite place on earth?
Well, as of now, it is Tulum in Mexico. Yeah, absolutely, hands down. If you haven't been, it's actually closer to New York. Just saying, so it's worth the trip.
Season 3.
I'm saying,
Season
I'm
4.
planting that seed.
Exactly. There we go. I love it. One last question.
Yeah.
Hi, thank you for being here. I was wondering, what challenge would you like to come up with for the show?
Ooh, what challenge? You know what? I think the first thing that came to mind is like a YouTube challenge. Like, let's make someone look like Kylie Jenner. You know, like with makeup. Like, let's make your contestant or your partner look like Kylie Jenner. Let's see what that turns into.
I like that. Do you ever watch like other competition shows for adults, like American Ninja Warrior, and get inspiration for things that you want to put people through?
I actually want to be on American Ninja Warrior. I actually want to.
You could do pretty good, I feel like. Do some
think?
training. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh. I will bring out every bit of training I've ever experienced. This is a real thing.
I love it, guys. Well, New Year's Day,
Yeah.
January 1st, Paradise Run, Nickelodeon. Thanks so much for being here, Danielle. Give her a round
Thanks
of
for
applause,
having me,
guys.
guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.